You're watching ABC4 News with Emily Flores, Glenn Mills, and Alana Brophy.
When it comes to therapy, it's common for people to open up about intimate details of their lives.
Yes, but one form of therapy, the topic of conversation, is confronting arguably the most intimate aspect of someone's life. We're talking sex. ABC4's Ali O'Rulian took a deep dive into sex therapy, and Ali telling us what experts want people to know tonight.
If you're scared off by the term sex therapy, don't be. Sex therapy isn't anything racy or explicit. It's regular old therapy, but the topic is sex. And for many people in Utah, it's an outlet to create more meaningful intimacy in their lives.
Sex therapy. You might be wondering, what does that entail? First, let's tell you what sex therapy isn't.
If you are going to see a sex therapist, you are not taking off your clothes. You are not having sex in session. Your therapist is not watching you have sex. Nothing's happening with actual having of sex or clothes taking off.
In fact, it's the exact opposite.
Sex therapy is really unsexy.
Sex is an integral part of many people's lives, but for some, it's a difficult topic to talk about or even difficult to do. But where does a sex therapist come in?
My role is to talk with the client, identify thoughts that they have that are irrational or inaccurate. There's a lot of inaccurate thoughts related to sexual health, a lot of just lack of sex education.
Sex therapists work with clients to get rid of harmful mindsets that can lower sex drive or make sex unenjoyable, unattainable through dysfunction, or painful. But how does that even happen? Sex therapist Jordan Rouleau points to two things: shame and a lack of education.
Same issues in other states. However, it is in Utah a much more concentrated sexual shame.
She says in Utah, these two problems are especially an issue.
Working here, it seems to be a lot higher.
And Rouleau says those two problems feed into each other.
Because if you think about one of the main things that fuels shame is don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. So if you are not getting good, accurate sexual health education, if you're just being told don't talk about it, or if you're being told here are all the bad things that are going to happen if you do it, that just fuels that shame.
But where should people learn about sex? Utah's public school sex education is abstinence-based, and the curriculum is not comprehensive. Parents also have to opt in to allow their kids to be taught sex ed. Advocates for our current education say it's working.
The numbers of teenage pregnancies or STDs or abortion, all those numbers, you can look at those, and Utah is always down in the bottom.
They also say sex education should be taught in the home.
It's all about protecting the children. And it's, of course, about the parents and the parental rights and the parents to be the ones to teach their children those things.
Brigham Young University professor Shalom Levitt teaches a course called Healthy Sexuality in Marriage. She agrees sex should be taught in the home, but says problems can arise.
I think really the best place for children to learn about healthy sexuality is from their parents, for sure. Is that happening? Not really. In fact, just because I do the research on this, I know it's not happening in about 80% of families.
And she says in the homes that do talk about sex, it can sometimes only involve the mechanics or the risks involved with it, and that can lead to misinformation.
When children feel like they're not getting their questions answered about sexuality, the two sources that they go to are the internet and peers. Those are two terrible sources.
She and others like Rouleau believe there should be more expansive conversations about sex, not just about the dangers, but a holistic approach that discusses both the good and the bad, as well as incorporating your beliefs about sex. And when it comes to sex therapy, that's the goal.
My role is not to change those beliefs, but my role is to give all the accurate information. So here's what we know from research, here's what we know from science. Also, here's what we know about your values. These are values that are incredibly important to you. So let's talk about how we take your values and take this accurate information and reconcile the two.
And this idea of applying values and accurate information to create a healthy mindset for yourself can happen at any point of your life and can be taught in your home. So whether you're an adult reframing your own mindset about sex or a parent teaching your kids about sex in a way that's appropriate for their age, experts say, talk about it. Have an open conversation. For resources from these experts about how to navigate those conversations, you can find that on our website, abc4.com. Back to you.